video start. Turn on camera and a wave at the camera. Hello. Here's a reply video to Chris, who was in an interview last night. The video at the top of the channel here. Here's one that's scheduled for today. Here's some of my comments here. This Monday Night Fever, that's a reference to A Case of the Mondays. Adjusting microphone. That's a reference to A Case of the Mondays from Office Space. And speaking of that movie, there's a joke in that movie about having 5 different bosses ask if the guy got the memo or not. And what's funny about that is, there's 5 bosses, whatever, in the Italian mob. So I think that's what that's ultimately referring to. I think I quoted Luca Brasi from the movie The Godfather. Said, may your first child be a masculine barista, ... and your second child be an even more masculine barista. It's just a joke. Barista is like someone who works at Starbucks. So here's a video reply to Chris. I wrote a memo, and this would be like a very long reply. Here's just sort of like a cheat sheet. So I've nicknamed Chris Unidentified Chris. But the thing is like, I know I wouldn't send out any disrespect if I didn't see a potential for greatness in you, Chris. Someone who's just like a lost cause wouldn't even get any sort of feedback at all. I have an old quote about identity, and sort of like graduating from identifying as someone who is out of control with addiction problems, and graduating to something that's more empowering. For example, like Joe Gallo wasn't known as, hello Dana, Joe Gallo wasn't known as like Joe Gallo the addict. It was Crazy Joe, right? So a great thing that we can see here is the reality show, documentary, whatever, from a few years ago with Tom Sizemore, Alec Baldwin, and I'm trying to think who else. The basketball player with mohawk and tattoos from the Chicago Bulls. Everyone should know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now. So in the modern era with social media, that stuff, it sounded like a lot of unbelievable, like tall tales, like some kind of Paul Onion type things that people would talk about. With social media now, it's like there's proof here. When someone has addiction problems, it's very clear during their life and even after their life too. It's still there on social media. So as far as Italian Americans go, the only people that I can think of in the genre of addiction and recovery is going to be Bam Margera and Tom Sizemore. The reality shows and documentary, but then even more so on social media. There's just so many Italian Americans in general. There's some good prohibition links from the year 1920. The stuff that sort of led to, in my opinion, the founding of anonymous groups. These 3 words are just so phonetically similar. Al Capone, Alcatraz, alcohol. They almost are like the same word, even though they have completely different meanings. Ultimately, that can be seen searching Engrams. What it does is it scans through millions of books, if not every single book and newspaper and magazine article, and it finds how frequently different words are mentioned, and it shows a chart. So I'll show that here in a minute. All of the anonymous groups, in my opinion, they follow the same like 12-step process, and I think the Emotions Anonymous one is the easiest one to understand. Oh, I meant to have a song going in the background. I already have that link pulled up, so I'll pull up the link, and then I have to reopen YouTube for that song. Chris, your name on YouTube is Sicilian, so I have to press the back button. It's this song right here. And so what this is to demonstrate how the old country, quote unquote, how Italy sort of across the ocean messes with Italian Americans who've like fled their country and stuff like that. It's hard to explain the type of things that go on. Definitely check out this music video, or at least just the lyrics of this song here. I think anyone who's been outside of their house has heard this song at one place or another. I don't know. It's just a song about Calabria. Like the lyrics in the song says, "You're the talk of the town," blah blah blah. That's just in reference to the Sicilian part of your name. And regarding your first name, Chris, here's something that I call the Chris Pyle. And so I'm searching back to the year 1950, just two terms in written history, Gomer Pyle and Christopher Pyle. Christopher Pyle is a professor in, I think I'm going to stop that song. So in the 1960s, Christopher Pyle was just a regular guy in the Air Force, and he worked for computer intelligence. This was when it was a very new thing. He's the blue right here. And leading up to this, you can find congressional hearings, the church committee. The church committee is well known for other things. He was sort of like the Edward Snowden of the early 1970s when he left the military, and he started telling how there was all this surveillance going on and stuff. And what's so interesting is how Gomer Pyle, a fictional character, completely pushed him out of the historical record. And to this day, he's still a professor in, I think, the Massachusetts area. He doesn't have a lot of interviews. He has a few. And so I suppose I went through most of the things that I meant to mention in this video reply. I didn't want to make it too long. How new some of these things that we think are like actually really old. So if I type in LSD, the first mention of it that I can find in history is from an Irish poem book way back in like either the 1800s or the early 1900s. So LSD is completely new, but even something like stuff that seems to have been around forever, but it's, it's just imagination, right? It's the idea that these things did not exist before 1870 or something. So anyways, that's all for now. Video over.